All right, everybody, gather around. Tonight, we're celebrating the life and laughter of a true legend, Kris Kristofferson. Now, Kris was known for his soulful music, his way with words, and let's be honest, his knack for making a grand entrance. I mean, the man was practically born with a guitar in one hand and a punchline in the other. And speaking of grand entrances, who could forget the time he landed a helicopter on Johnny Cash's lawn? That's right, folks, a helicopter. Johnny said he was just chilling out, enjoying a glass of iced tea, when all of a sudden, down comes Kris in this whirlybird like a country music superhero. Talk about making an impression. Now, you might be thinking, wait, a helicopter? This guy sounds like a wild man, and you wouldn't be wrong. But here's the thing about Kris, he was full of surprises. I mean, this is a guy who went to Oxford on a Rhodes Scholarship. Yeah, Oxford. He was a boxer, a captain in the army, a helicopter pilot. And then he decided, you know what, I think I'll write some country songs. And those songs, they weren't your typical honky-tonk tunes. Kris wrote about real life, about heartbreak, about hope, about the struggles of everyday folks. But he did it with this wit and this honesty that just made you want to laugh and cry at the same time. He was like the Shakespeare of country music, only with better sideburns. Speaking of country music, let's talk about some of Kris's greatest hits. I mean, the man wrote Me and Bobby McGee, Help Me Make It Through the Night, For the Good Times, classics, every one of them. But my personal favorite has got to be Sunday Morning Coming Down. It's just this perfect encapsulation of that feeling you get after a long, crazy weekend, when you're trying to piece together what happened and figure out how you ended up wearing a lampshade on your head. You know, we've all been there. And Kris just had this way of capturing those moments, those feelings, in a way that nobody else could. Section 4. Me and Bobby McGee and Johnny Makes Three, the funniest trio this side of the Mississippi. But back to the laughter, because that's what we're here to celebrate tonight. And when it comes to Kris Kristofferson stories, you can't talk about laughter without talking about his friendship with Johnny Cash. Those two were like the comedy duo we never knew we needed. They were always pulling pranks on each other, telling jokes, just generally raising hell. There's this one story where they were on tour together, and they decided to have a little fun with the hotel staff. So, they went down to the lobby, and Kris started singing this operatic aria at the top of his lungs, while Johnny pretended to conduct him with a toilet brush. The looks on those hotel guests' faces? Priceless. Section 5. From Golden Gloves to Golden Records, Kris Kristofferson, the Renaissance man of laughs. But you know, what's amazing about Kris is that he wasn't just a funny guy, he was a true Renaissance man. I mean, we've already talked about his music and his, unique mode of transportation, but this guy also had a successful acting career. He was in A Star Is Born, Convoy, Blade. He even played the devil himself in The Highwayman. And through it all, he never lost that sense of humor, that twinkle in his eye. He was always quick with a joke, always ready to laugh at himself. He was just one of those people who made you feel good to be around, you know? Section 6. He was a walking, talking country song remembering Kris's quirky charm. And that's what I'll remember most about Kris Kristofferson, his laughter, his kindness, his ability to find the humor in any situation. He was a true original, a one-of-a-kind talent, and a hell of a nice guy. As someone once said, he was a walking, talking country song. And you know what? That's the perfect way to describe him. He was real, he was raw, he was full of life, and he always left you wanting more. Section 7. Kris Kristofferson, a legacy of laughter, music, and one wild ride. So, tonight let's raise a glass to Kris Kristofferson, the songwriter, the storyteller, the helicopter pilot, the legend. He may be gone, but his music, his laughter, and his spirit will live on forever. And hey, if you ever find yourself feeling down, just remember those words of wisdom from the man himself. If you don't like Hank Williams, you can kiss my A****. Thanks for the memories, Kris. We'll miss you, buddy.